Okay, 12th is slightly, looking at the title, it is slightly spiritual, yoga of devotion. But then I have brought it into business world from the perspective of self-actualization. That is what I am calling it as devotion. Devotion is not again only praying a god or being a theist, but then you can try to achieve the self-actualization meaning. So it is of an individual should be at the highest level of preference with reference to Maslow's need hierarchy, working for the good of all beings, developing and maintaining relationships, and thinking from the neutral viewpoint towards happening around, and thinking about others can make one reach the level of ecstasy, that is self-actualization. Those who can earn wealth and eat only for themselves shall lead to frustration and failure. So you have to think about neutral viewpoint and think about relationships and think from the perspective of others. Then only you can reach to that level. The concepts herein: who is a real devotee? The person who can concentrate more on his work, the person who can devote himself to a particular task. No businesses is superior or inferior. I remember I had given you an example of vada pav outlets in Pune. So starting with a vada pav outlet, if it is told to an MBA student, he won't be able to do it. Isn't he? He will say vada pav. Can that be a business? But then the business has reached global. Another example which I can think about that there is no business which is superior or inferior is this Yevle Chahawale. Yevle Amrut. That person is an engineer and he has put up his certificate in all his outlets that an engineer can do anything, and he has got branches all over, at least in Pune, that can still extend. So you should not feel shy about any kind of work or starting with any kind of business. That can go to any extent. Another example from Pune itself is BVG Industries. What do they do? They clean the premises of the organization. So the menial work, which we consider as the most downtrodden work, we don't give importance to that. But that company is flourishing and earning crores of rupees. Most of the many big companies have got tie with them for the contracts of cleaning the premises. So no business is inferior, no business is superior. Whatever you do, you are supposed to make it superior. The central theme of this chapter is balanced person is liked by the top authorities. Balance means the person who is balanced at his brain, who doesn't get too much excited, who doesn't get too much miserable. So he can manage, he can balance two extremes as far as the emotions are concerned. So devotion, concentration is talking about making your mind, making your entire psyche balanced so that you don't get disturbed in any of the situations. This will come up in next slide a bit more in detail. See, he will consider, this is all in Sanskrit and for the understanding I have written it in English. So he considered friends and foes same. Foe means enemy. So he makes no distinction between friend and foes. He considers respect and disrespect same. In the sense, he doesn't consider the same, but then he is balancing both the situation. If he is respected too much, he doesn't get so much delighted. If he is disrespected, he doesn't get disturbed. So that's how we are talking about balancing. He considers hot and cold same, not in real sense, but then from a conceptual perspective. He considers happiness and misery same, means he remains balanced even in extreme happinesses and in an extreme miser situation. There are cases where people have got a lottery ticket of 5 crore rupees and the person has died with a massive heart attack. It is proven by psychology that the people who get engaged, this is a research done in medical science, so this is a real research done. The people who get engaged and they are yet to get married, so there is a gap of let's say 1 month, 2 months, in some cases 6 months between an engagement and your marriage. So during that time, medical science has done some research on these couples who are engaged. It has been found that the husband has got increment in his blood pressure and anxiety. And the reason, you know what is the reason? Reason is happiness. Reason is found is happiness. He is very much excited to get married and that has increased the blood pressure. Proven research in medical science. So extreme happiness can also be dangerous. Extreme sadness is obviously dangerous. So I can give you the example of extreme sadness. This is again a common thing which unfortunately we have observed in last 2 years during Corona time. Many people have lost their parents. Usually, initially, Corona, the people who got affected were above 50 years of age. Later on, that average came down and young people also died. But most of the people have lost their parents, and losing a parent may be any one of them, either a father or mother, is the same situation to that person's children. And there may be 2, 3 or 4 children also if possible. So for those 4 children, mother or father is died. Is this situation imaginable? 4 people have lost their father. The dead body is there in front of all the 4 children. But all the 4 students, all the 4 children will react in different. Everyone has lost his or her father. But everyone will react in a different way. Somewhere the situation is here. So how you can manage the kind of bad situation which you are facing at that particular moment, that depends on you. Out of the 4 children, one might be crying like hell. People are trying to control him. There might be his own real brother or sister who is absolutely calm. He is talking to all the people who are coming for consoling them. He is going to the gate, welcoming them, sending him back. He also has lost his father. The other person who is crying like hell, he has also lost his father. Relationship with the person who has died and these 2 children is same. But it depends on every individual how he manages that particular situation. Whereas there might be a 3rd son who is neither crying nor talking to the people. He is sitting in one corner, sitting idle. Other people are making him to cry because he has gone to such an extreme situation that he has lost all his emotions. So people will try to make him cry so that he will come out of his emotions. So situation remains the same. Every person will react to the same situation in a different way, and that depends on you. So you shouldn't be too much happy in extreme happiness, and you shouldn't be too much miserable. With this, even during this Corona time, there were many cases where husband has died and wife died immediately after 10-15 minutes because she couldn't take up that shock. Right? So happiness, misery depends on every individual. So you have to balance between the two. That considers condemnation and praise the same. Means he doesn't get disturbed by condemnation or he doesn't get too much excited by praise. He has no hate. He has mercy towards all. He has compassion towards all. This is the thing which is missing in today's world. People don't have compassion at all. You will find people driving with a speed behind an ambulance. Because we know that when an ambulance is coming, every vehicle will give way to ambulance. But there are few people who will know that if the ambulance can cross the road, I can also cross behind it. Where is the compassion? Inside there might be a person who is supposed to be admitted. If he doesn't get admitted in 5 minutes, he is likely to die. I don't worry. I don't care who's there in the ambulance. I will take my own way because I am in a hurry. Right? So compassion is totally missing in today's world, I would say. You should not envy, no envy. You should not have any kind of ego, which we have discussed earlier. You should not hurt anyone. You should have no fear. Swami Vivekananda has said, be fearless. Very difficult. And in today's world, it may not be practical. At that time, it might have been possible. But today's world, be fearless in TCMC, you will face the music. No overwhelming of your emotions, no anxiety, no stress, no anger. And you are supposed to be keeping away from this. You should be pure, you should be studied, you should be impartial, you should have no desires, and you should always be religious and ethical. The person who has got all these qualities is an idol who doesn't exist. So, some of the other qualities you may have or you may not have. Having all these qualities, you really have to be a saint, which was like Dhaneshwar or Tukaram. There are many stories you might have heard about their lives. So they never objected to anyone. It's only because they were in a position to balance the thing. And even in our workplace also, we will always like to the person who is balanced, whom with we talk to them. We will have discussions amongst our friends. So you will not like to be in company of the people who are extremists. You will always like to people who are very much balanced. Go to him, you will have nice time with him. Why? Because balanced people are always liked by even top authorities, even by their colleagues. Everyone thinks like this. Whatever qualities I have told earlier, though those are very ideal qualities, but everyone thinks that he or she has all those qualities. In reality, that's not the situation. But still, every person thinks that I am the only conscious human in the world of the ship. Ship is a phrase which is used in English, ship tendency. So ships don't think. If one ship falls in the valley, all other will also follow it without thinking. So that's what is happening in the society in general. So no business is superior or inferior. So that superiority complex need to be removed. This is interesting. This is written in a British English. This is, in conclusion, the key to superiority complex is stay grounded and never look with a picture. With the picture. So Veda is a pronunciation you can say. Wider picture. This word is wider, W-I-D-E-R, but it's written in pronunciation. Wider picture. So that's how British people pronounce it. So never look at the wider picture. I am better than everyone. So it's a relative ability of seeing yourself with others or comparing yourself with other things around you. So that way you are superior, better as compared to others. This is the thing which you shouldn't have. Inferiority complex. The thing in the star is interesting. Call now or don't bother. Because if you want to stay here, these are the facilities which are provided to you in the inferiority complex. Complex word is very commonly used for all the flat schemes. Well, this is a very hidden joke. What is joke that I have written here? So these are called as complementary nuts, means which are given for free with the drinks. But then they have taken a meaning that complementary nuts means the nuts who will give compliments about you. Well, I think that's all for today.